Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Balls and Strikes, brought to you by Americans for Good Government. I'm again here with Ken Buck, former congressman from Colorado. Ken, good to see you today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Gary. I'm running around with my head chopped off, but I am doing great. Just a lot of errands to
Yeah,
do.
I understand. Well, to rely, I was wondering, Ken, we're in a season right now, and I was thinking about this last night. I was watching where I'm at. Cincinnati Reds are the local, team that people follow, the former Big Red Machine area. And we're in a season right now where we've got baseball going on, hockey playoffs going on, NBA playoffs going on. I'm curious, do you follow any of those in particular? What's your fandom?
Well, I tell you, we don't have professional baseball in Colorado. We have the Colorado Rockies, and unfortunately, I guess I could, pick another team to root for. But I'm a college football fan, and I love college football, and I just there is the college football season, and there is the off season in my world.
Yeah, I got you. Well, how do you feel about Patrick and I? Our producer was talking about this before we began rolling here. The move toward replay of all these plays and things. I'm old school. I'm like I might agree to a replay if I ran the world at the end of a game, the very end of a game. But I get so tired of the delays of constant replays and challenges to calls. And so, when you feel that way too, or not?
Yeah, I actually played 77 to 80, and we didn't have replay. But the funny thing was, Gary, when just one time we were televised on ABC, and they had a script, and on the script it said, "Come running out on the field, and very very excited, yelling, raising your arms." And I looked at it like you've got to tell football players how to feel before a game. So I think TV and instant replay has taken a lot of the human drama out of
Yeah.
sport, and it's too bad because it really does cut it up. Plus, you gotta set aside 3.5, 4 hours if you want to watch a football game
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Well, you talk about how things have changed real quick before we move on. But I went to watch my grandson play basketball, and it was in the old gym in Southern Ohio here where I played basketball years ago as a high schooler. And I'm sitting there with my other granddaughter, watching this game. She's older, and and I said, "Yeah, this gym's pretty much like when I played, except of course we did not have the 3-point line." And my granddaughter says, "Did they just have to guess where it was?" I about fell off the bleachers, Ken. So yeah, we pretty much spent the whole game arguing about whether that was a 3-pointer or not. She couldn't conceive of the game without the 3-point shot. So anyway, that was fun.
Well, and they didn't have a shot clock.
No.
In college, at least, I don't remember if they had it in the pros, but they didn't have it in college when I was around.
Yeah, they've had it. That was one thing that always kind of separated the pros. They had the NBA's had it from the beginning, which eventually, because of stalling, North Carolina back in the day, the four corners stalled, and so they finally decided they needed to do something in the college game too. So I do like the shot clock. So it's one of the few changes I do like. Well, Ken, let's move on to some topics today, things we talk about. Fiscal responsibility or the lack of fiscal responsibility, whether it's from Republicans or Democrats or whatever it may be. And then fraud in general. There's a guy named Nick Shirley. We've talked about him on this show before. Nick's kind of the citizen journalist who has uncovered a good bit of fraud and hospice fraud in California, daycare fraud in Minnesota. Well, a California Assembly member, Mia Bonta, wife of Attorney General Rob Bonta, has introduced a bill that it's basically being called the Stop Nick Shirley Act, because it would basically criminalize filming or capturing on video anyone that's working on, what is it, immigration services. Immigration service providers can't be filmed or so on. If you've always pushed for government transparency your whole life. When you have a situation like this, where they're basically saying providing evidence of fraud would be against the law, how do you react to that?
Well, it is wrong on so many different levels, Gary. First of all, we should be doing more investigation, both inside government with inspector generals, general accounting office, other agencies, but also outside government. The day when journalists were free to roam and root out corruption is over, because journalism has taken such a hit as a result of where big tech is right now. But we really need more people that care about waste, fraud, and abuse to get involved. But the other thing is, how about free speech? You know, where is the idea that journalists or citizen journalists can't uncover something and expose it and embarrass the people who got elected to office, the bureaucrats who are appointed to office? Part of the backbone of our democracy, our republic, and it's just unfortunate that a somewhat responsible legislator in an irresponsible state would think that that's appropriate.
The bill carries penalties of up to $10,000 in fines and 1 year in jail. Republican Assembly member Carl DeMaio has been opposing this bill, arguing that on the committee floor that the bill provides no exemption for actual journalists. And I would argue Nick Shirley is certainly a citizen journalist. Even if it captures misconduct in plain view, the bill's supporters say it simply extends existing safe-at-home confidentiality protections to immigration service workers because they're facing threats. But Ken, these are the same people to me who demand that we unmask ICE agents. You know, ICE agents should have their mask on. Well, we know the reason ICE agents wear those masks is because they were being doxxed. Their lives are being put in danger. Their families are being put in danger. And yet, you know, they don't care about that, but they want to protect people who might be committing fraud, allegedly.
Right. Well, the left is famous for applying double standards to constitutional principles as well as just government generally. They would never come up with a sanction involving something that the ACLU would do, or the Southern Poverty Law Center, or any of their left of center groups. But if somebody on the right is doing a good job exposing an important area, waste, fraud, and abuse, they absolutely will pass laws. Now, I don't believe a federal court, district, appellate, or Supreme Court will uphold a statute like that.
Yeah.
But the cost to an individual to go through that process when they're taking on the state of California with deep pockets is part of the unfairness.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Ken, listen, thank you for being again with us today. Americans for Good Government is fighting hard to do exactly this type of thing: expose fraud, hold people accountable, tell the truth about government finance, about government waste, and so on, and keep fighting the good fight.
Gary, thanks for your great introduction for issues and your knowledge, and keeping this conversation going. I love these. I look forward to the next one.
Same here. Thank you. See you next time, everyone.